What if I told you that during World War II, the Nazis built brothels inside concentration camps? It sounds unbelievable, but it's true. Heinrich Himmler, one of Hitler's closest men, gave the order in 1942. His goal wasn't kindness, it was control, humiliation, and survival at a terrible price. At first, women were taken from the Ravensbrück camp. Later, more were chosen from other camps. Most were German women. Jewish women were usually excluded because of the Nazis' racist rules. Officially, the women volunteered. But let's be honest, what kind of choice could they have in a place where every day meant beatings, hunger, and death? The Nazis promised better food, medical checkups, and safety from hard labor. Some women were even told they might be freed in 6 months. But this promise was rarely kept. Instead, these women were forced to serve male prisoners inside special camp buildings the SS called brothels. The brothels were set up in 10 camps, including Buchenwald, Sachsenhausen, Mauthausen, and even Auschwitz. Inside, small rooms lined a corridor, each with a bed. SS guards stood watch, even peeking through holes in the doors to monitor what was happening. But here's the shocking part. Almost no prisoner ever got to enter these brothels. Only about 1% of male prisoners had access, usually those the SS considered valuable workers. Even then, they had to pay with camp stamps, which most didn't have. The Nazis called this a privilege. In reality, it was another way to break the spirit of prisoners and make them complicit in the abuse of women. For the men, the visit wasn't freedom. It was a trap, humiliation in front of SS guards. For the women, it was far worse. They became victims twice over, abused by the Nazis, and then used by fellow prisoners. Some survived, but many carried lifelong scars of shame and silence. Historians say hundreds of women were forced into this system, and while many of them did survive the war, their stories were buried. For decades, no one wanted to talk about it. Not the men who visited, not the women who suffered. They were afraid people would think they had chosen this life. It wasn't until the 1990s that survivors like Margaret, a woman from Buchenwald, began to speak openly. She revealed that out of tens of thousands of prisoners, only 16 women were forced into prostitution there. Their task, to serve others, just to stay alive. Yet even with their testimonies, justice never truly came. Almost none of these women received recognition or compensation. In fact, in one case in 1966, a woman asked for reparations. Her request was denied. The government said too much time had passed. This dark chapter shows us something chilling. The Nazis could have improved prisoners' lives by giving them better food and care. Instead, they chose to humiliate, exploit, and dehumanize. These women weren't volunteers. They were survivors of one of history's cruelest systems. So when we talk about the horrors of concentration camps, we must not forget them. Their suffering proves that the Nazis' goal was not only death, but also humiliation in every possible form. And though their voices were silenced for decades, today, they must be heard. Thanks for kindly hit subscribe and like for more histories through lens.